sweet. What a huge difference 1 week makes. I am freezing my buns off. But we're going to get back to work on this bathhouse. There's a couple things that I want to correct. And that is like where I have the separation. I don't know if the top shows it. I didn't know anything about Z flashing, and two of my subscribers kind of give me the heads up. They said, Carl, if you don't want problems in the future, you're going to have to add Z flashing. So I think what we're going to do, since we finally have sun, is we're going to go ahead and hammer away at this as fast as we can. I'm going to take those top couple panels off, and I'll quickly show you what the Z flashing looks like, but I'm not going to put too much time into videoing that. And then the other thing that I'd like to do is I'm surprised I don't have any hornet nests or anything like that, but you can see where up on top I've got to go ahead and seal that off to keep critters out of there and to keep the elements out of there. I'd like to do the decking today for the shower house, and then lastly, if time permits, I don't know if I'll get to it, but I'm going to push for it. I'd like to go ahead and install the door, so that way this will be 100% sealed off for the winter. But like I said, I don't know how far we'll get. We'll take it one step at a time. Okay, for those of you who may not know what Z flashing is, here it is. It's just a piece of weather stripping. It's a piece of trim that goes behind the top layer, and then that way if any water comes down here, instead of it getting behind the lower layer, it drips it out so that it doesn't get inside the wall and rot it. So that's the one thing that I did wrong. I was grateful to a couple of folks that reached out to me and said, hey Carl, you forgot to put Z flashing on, and I really didn't forget. I didn't know. So I appreciate the help, guys. So on this build, I had limited supplies as far as lumber goes. What I ended up doing is I took all the leftover sheets and pieces of wood that I didn't use when I first did the main siding of the cabin, and I'm taking them and I'm chopping them into my trim pieces. And so right here what I'm doing is I'm taking off I'm actually utilizing the smaller piece of trim that's only about 1.5 inches wide. And you'll see in this next clip I'm going to start to do the trim process by trimming out the bottom piece first. And then I found that usually when I take these pieces of wood and cut them in half, if you're just working on your own, it's much easier than if I were to take an 8-foot piece of trim and take a chance on snapping that trim in half or breaking it. So just going to use these small sections like this, and it goes in real easy. I'm just using my finish nailer on it, and I got some ribbed nails that won't back out once the elements hit it. Okay, in this next segment, I'm going to go ahead and take some real precise measurements and I'm going to make sure that I can get this last board to overlap that small section that I just nailed in. So I go over to the table saw, and I'm going to go ahead and make those last cuts, and I'll follow suit and do the same thing where I actually take this 8-foot board and I'll cut it in half and put it in 2 sections. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and tell you about this table saw that I've been using. About a year ago, Vevor Tools reached out to me and they gave me a planer that I used to plane some of the lumber that I used here at the cabin. They've given me a bandsaw, they've given me this table saw, and recently they said they're going to go ahead and give me a welder for a project that I'm going to be doing up here at the cabin that works off of both stick welding and plastic welding. And it's just been a great relationship, and I'd be doing them a great injustice and you guys a great injustice if I didn't take a second to share with you this table saw that they sent me. This table saw is very reasonably priced. All of Vevor's tools seem to be really affordable, and it's a great place to start if you don't want to spend $1 million on tools, but yet you want something that's got decent quality. I'd highly recommend this company. This build has been so much easier today when I've been using this saw because, you know, obviously you want to be perfect and get your cuts right the first time, and this tool's been able to help me out with that. It's got an expandable table to where you can set the table at whatever size lumber you're cutting. It has a regular saw blade on it that cuts with a really great edge right out of the factory. I didn't have to worry about swapping out the blade for some of the finer cuts that I had. And of course the blade can tilt up to 45 degrees. It does come with this tool that I was using for some of the closer cuts. For when you wanted to set your guard, this thing has been dead nuts on. I haven't had to worry about where I'm going to set it and if this line is going to be true. Every single cut that I made during this project, everything's been good. So I can't say enough for it. It's a great saw. Has an emergency shut off if you don't want to cut your fingers off and you only have a foot or a knee or something to bump it. All around, it's a great tool. It does come with some different attachments that ride on the deck where if you want to cut wood at different degrees and different angles. In this project, you can see I don't have it set up for that because I've been just doing basic cuts. But regardless, I'm going to leave you a link in the video description. If you can, go ahead and support these guys. They've been great to the channel, and they've got very well built tools for a reasonable price. All right, let's get back to work. All right, so you can see we got everything closed up there on the soffit, and I spared you doing the exact same thing on the front, but I'll show you what I did up front. Basically, I just wanted to get this thing all sealed up here so that I wouldn't have to worry about any birds next spring coming in and making a nest. And I didn't want snow in there, obviously. And now it gives me a little bit of time to where I can start working on the inside of it, even if it's crappy out. All right, and you can kind of see we're like right in there, that brown line, that's that Z flashing to keep the water from rolling in there. And then underneath here, you can see I went ahead and I sealed off this soffit too, so that I don't have to worry about any little guys getting in there. And I don't know if the camera can quite sneak in there, but everything is sealed up. Okay, you guys, I just got done weatherproofing these windows in, and I used a siliconized caulk to seal up the joint where this meets the wall. And obviously, I'm going to add some decorative trim around here, but I always like to seal off all these spots where water could get in, you know, double and triple times. So everything there is pretty much sealed off. I did not caulk around the bottom. I left the bottom open, and I did that by design because I wanted any water to run out, not run inside. Now, if any of you guys are wondering how to seal off this caulk and make your joints look presentable, so that they're not all, you know, wavy and goofy looking, an old plumber's trick that I've used for years is I get denatured rubbing alcohol. And I didn't show it on camera. I should have probably showed it. But what you do is you put that denatured alcohol on your finger, and you can just simply take your finger and wipe it down the joint. And as you do that, it repels the silicone so that it doesn't stick to your finger, and it gives you a real sweet, smooth, finished appearance. So even if you're crappy at caulking these joints or crummy at caulking these joints, it makes it look like a professional did it. So that's your little Carl's Off the Grid tip for this week. All right, guys, I think we're gonna switch gears a little bit here. For those of you that have been longtime viewers of the channel, you know, about a year and a half ago or so, maybe it's been close to 2 years now that falls here. It's probably closer to 2 years ago. I got bit by a deer tick while I was sitting on a mini excavator, widening the driveway and doing some landscaping around here. And then about 6 months after that, I got hit by another deer tick. And it's been kind of a strange thing, because those are the only 2 times I've ever even seen a deer tick out in these woods. And I've been coming up here since I've been probably about 9 months old. My parents first started bringing me into the North Woods. and those were the only times that I had ever seen deer ticks, and unfortunately they hit me, and I got the indicator of the target that was right around the tick bite, and it's wiped me out. And you know, a couple weeks ago when I went over by Wiley to tour his cabin build and get some creative ideas, uh, I I was in so much pain. I didn't want to say anything to him because I didn't want to spoil the trip. But today I can't go on with this project anymore today. We're going to give it a week or two, and usually these flare-ups and achy joints that I get kind of go away, and it kind of travels through my system. So we'll see what happens. I've got a lot done though with the amount of time that I've been working on this. We've got the Z flashing is put in, and I went ahead and enclosed the soffits so we don't have to worry about that. I've waterproofed this window, and I think we're going to hold off right there. Next time I come up to the cabin, I'm going to target on putting the wood decking in between the cabin and the shower house, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put the wood trim around the windows. And if my bride is with me, and if it's not too cold, I think we're going to go ahead and start priming this and painting it so it's not all these different goofy colors. We'll kind of do something that's going to match the cabin, but all that is weather permitting. So you know how that goes. Things can change real quick. But I appreciate you guys joining me and sticking with me on this build. I know it's been taking a little bit of time. Usually I can fly through these projects real quick, but obviously with my health, this isn't going to happen so quick. So we'll take it one day at a time. And let's go take a walk out to the trail camera. And about a month or two ago, I put in a watering hole for the deer. And like I mentioned in last week's video, we had a bear that came in, and that was kind of a fluke. It was a 1 or 2 day deal. I think the hunters kind of pushed them through the area, but you never know what pictures show up on the trail camera. So I'm going to go grab the SD card out of that, and maybe we'll see some of the wildlife that's been visiting the cabin. Yeah, it seems like the leaves have kind of taken over this. I'm going to have to clean this out. But let's grab the camera and we'll see if anything's been using it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me in this week's video. I know it wasn't much of a video, but we did get a little bit of work done on that shower house. And I think this is going to be a weekend of resting for me. I hope you guys learned something from this video and you at least found it useful or entertaining. We'll catch you next time on Carl's Off the Grid.